Okay, so I'm Lisa Story. I am the founder and executive director of Hope Grows. And as Jen said, I am a licensed professional counselor in mental health and also a certified thanatologist. So thanatology is the study of death and dying, and I'm certified to teach, educate, and just anything with death and dying and grief counseling. I'm also a professor over at Robert Morris University, and I teach their master's degree grief counseling course. And I'm also certified in horticultural therapy, and that's using the medium of nature in the work that we do here. So that's just a little bit about who I am, but I want to tell you more about who Hope Grows is. So I'll try to get quickly through this because I have another presentation for you as well. All right, why is that not working? Why is it not letting me? There we go. Okie doke. So our mission basically is to inspire hope through nature while empowering caregivers to seek wellness of mind, body, and spirit. So what we do is we help with the emotional, mental, and spiritual health of you as the family caregiver, and we cultivate caregiver wellness with all of the services and programs that we offer. Our primary goal here is helping you stay healthy while you are providing care for your loved one. I'm not going to show the 2021 video just because it'll take a little bit too long. If we have time afterwards, maybe we could come back to that. If not, I can put the link that's in our YouTube channel in the chat for people to be able to click on and then watch it later at their convenience. This is the Iris Respite House. This is our newest program. We are actually in Moon Township, not Robinson, Jen, close to Robinson though. But anyway, this home has been approved by the township to be an overnight bed and breakfast for caregivers to take a breakaway overnight. And we will have our occupancy permit this week, yay, and we'll be ready to open the doors as soon as we get that in our hand. So we are really excited. We thought would be open by now, but COVID did kind of put us behind the game in that, as we all know, with a lot of things that COVID did to us. But anyway, the home sits on 2.5 acres. There's 9 healing and restorative gardens, and there are trails in the back of the house. I would hopefully we get to the video. If not, please watch the video because it will just tell you everything about this location. So I won't spend a whole lot of time right now on it. So our core beliefs are that, connecting to nature and the natural world is therapeutic. We believe in a positive, holistic approach to care, and which is a part of the model of our support. And our unique approach is connecting, having the people that we work with connect to nature. We also believe that caregivers not only need a break, they deserve a break. And, and this is just sort of a diagram of all the different things that we do here at Hope Grows. Our growth has been unbelievable since COVID. We jumped from 2019 supporting 418, 3 years later at 1250 and growing. We are in 15 counties and 9 states at this point with our services. COVID expanded that, I think, because we were able to take all of our services online. So basically we were forced to go completely virtual, and that just made us more accessible to people that didn't know about us. I didn't plug in the other 2022 stats yet, but as you can see here, we do, we offer counseling, mental health counseling. We offer what's called therapeutic respite, and that is providing short breaks, whether it be 10 minutes a day or overnight. And our therapeutic respite is all about offering different activities and different ways of being able to engage in time for self. We do a lot of education and training. We offer turkey meals at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving meals, not a whole turkey, but the whole cooked meal can come to your house. What else can I tell you? Think Caregiver, that is probably our largest program. And that is where caregivers can opt in to receive a check-in phone call once a month from us. And instead of you calling us, we're calling you just to check in. If you answer, that's great. If you don't, we'll leave a message, but you'll know that, you know, if you need something, you can always call us back. I think we're currently at like about 450. I think Tracy could probably answer that a little bit better, but I think we're around about 450 calls a month that we make to check in on caregivers. And from there, they can opt in to also receive emails from us weekly that offer, you know, simple suggestions on, you know, focusing on self, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. A place for caregivers, and what we offer is ways for empowerment, change of environment, and self-care. This was based on a nationwide study that was done back in 2009, I believe it was. And caregivers had answered what were the three most important things that you need, and those were the three things, and we built our mission based around those three things. Our clinical team, it consists of, you know, Tracy and myself and 3 other counselors. We use doctoral, graduate, and undergrad interns, and we proudly work with these 4 universities. And that's our extended team, our chief development officer, operating officer, communications, our store manager, horticulturalist, and our university public relations individual. And these are just some of the programs and services mapped out a little bit differently. I had mentioned those already. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time there. You can go on our lovely website and find all of this information as well. Our areas of focus are programs and services, horticulture, and the Iris Respite House. And as I talked about our core values before, this is really our main core value is by recognizing the reciprocal relationship between self and nature. We recognize the dynamic of the caregiver and the care receiver. While we give, we are also receiving. We just have to be open to both so that true connection can be abundant. All right, so that's that part. That's who we are. I'll save questions, I guess, for later. So now I'm gonna try to find the other PowerPoint here. Why is that not? Oh, there we go. All righty. 1 second, please. Why is that not letting me? Oh, I see why. Okie doke. All right, so moving through change with resilience. That is what we're going to talk about tonight. I keep moving my little screen of everybody over because it's in my way. Hang on a second. All right, so tonight we're just going to talk about the introduction of what this presentation is about, what the primary goal is. We're going to talk about change. We're going to also talk about what about nature connection, and then a summary to wrap up. So moving through change with resilience and strengthening our relationship between the cared for and the caregiver. So if you can see the screen there, as we move through change, reflecting and engaging with our senses in nature and spending time in brief moments of time outside can build resilience. It's interesting, you know, people think, oh, it's just outside. Well, research tells us that our first reaction to a natural scene is emotional, right? And if that weren't the case, the hospitality industry wouldn't be $1 billion industry, and nor would the flower industry be $1 billion industry, right? We buy flowers because we want to speak with emotion when we give flowers, right? And we go to the beach, we go to the lakes, we go to the mountains, we go to some form of nature to relax. It's stress reducing. And you'll see that as we talk, you know, go in and talk a little bit more down the path here today. So using the healing and restoring benefits of nature as an incentive can cultivate our wellness of mind, body, and spirit, because it does reduce our stress. So the primary goal today is to identify how nature can help us move through these changes. So let's start, not the day, but the evening today with gratitude. So if you want to sit in your chair, put your feet flat on the ground and, put your arms down by your side. You can close your eyes or keep your eyes open. It does not matter. But we want to start and end our day with a grateful heart. So think of one thing that you're thankful for right now. Take a few seconds to think of that. If you need to, write it down. So in this centering activity, combining our breathing with a mental affirmation puts focus on positive health images. So what we're going to do is on the inhaling breath, we're going to repeat the affirmation, I am thankful for, and then, in your mind, say what you're thankful for, and then continue with, and I allow health to flow. And then on the exhaling breath, you're going to repeat and release my tensions related to and think of stress, something that you want to release, whether it be stress, whether it be fear, whatever it is you want to release, that put that there. Okay, it's going to be different for everybody. All right, so we're going to repeat this 3 times. I'll be the one to walk you through it, but in your mind, you see the screen, just, repeat that in your head and add the part, that you need to add. All right. So take a deep breath in and then say, I'm thankful for, and I allow health to flow. And then breathe out and release my tensions related to my, okay. Again, breathe in. I am thankful for, and I allow health to flow. Breathe out and release my tensions related to my. One more time on the inhaling breath. I am thankful for, and I allow health to flow. On the exhaling breath, release my tensions related to my. Okay, thank you for doing that. That's can be a centering activity. You can do this in the morning. You could do this in the evening. I love to start my day with a grateful heart. When we think of things we're thankful for, it changes the brain chemistry if you're not aware of that. So it's a good one to do. Just a quick and easy 3 breaths and you're done. Okay. All right. So let's talk about as we move through change. I'm actually going to look at a different screen here because the screen of everybody is blocking my view that I have on my screen. So hang on for that. All right. So as we move through change, reflecting and engaging our senses with nature and spending brief moments of time outside can build resilience. Okay. So we have 5 senses, right? Touch, taste, smell, sight, and sound. Now, for me, when I'm in nature, my hearing heightens. That's the sense that I'm drawn to with nature. For some odd reason, it just is very heightened. It might be different for you. But if you don't know what sense is heightened for you, I encourage you to go outside for 5-10 minutes, walk around and see what is drawn, what's nature bringing to you with one of your senses. And when you do that on a regular basis, it does help you build resilience. Okay. There's plenty of research exists using the healing and restoring benefits of nature as an incentive to help us cultivate wellness of mind, body, and spirit. So today I'm going to share some brief information about motivation for change. What is this people-plant connection that I keep talking about, and a few brief moments in nature and what they can do for us, okay? And then along with that, some quick ideas to help you become motivated enough to try to engage more deeply with nature. All right, so just like this caterpillar, changing into this beautiful butterfly. By the way, these are some of the gardens. The pictures you'll see in here are the gardens of Hope Grows, by the way. I love John Muir's quote: when we try to pick out anything by itself, we always find it hitched to everything else in the universe. Okay. Just like when we see a caterpillar, it's hitched to that plant that it's feasting on. And then from there, it just goes into this place of rebirth, right? And then it ends up being this beautiful butterfly that then also then pollinates, you know, the beautiful flowers during that time of the year. But keep that in mind, that we have this reciprocal relationship with nature that is just unexplainable. We can't live without nature, right? We can't live without plants. We provide something for it, and that also in nature provides something for us. Change, nature, and resilience. So moving through change can be difficult, right? It is, no matter what it is we're faced with, moving through change is difficult. We might feel as if we don't have the strength, desire, or the motivation. We might just say, why bother? However, I believe that we all have the power and the ability to overcome obstacles, to get through tough times, and to move through pain. Resilience is what gives people the psychological strength to cope with stress and hardship. It becomes a reservoir that we are able to call on in times of need to get us through without falling apart. So in nature, resilience comes from strength. So what keeps the tree standing during a horrible storm or the cold winter? The ability to soak up the right amount of nutrients throughout the year is what keeps that up, keeps the tree upright, right? And just like this plant growing through this crack in the cut down tree, it must have had the right amount of everything it needed in order to be able to sprout from that dark place. Okay. So motivation for change. What is motivation for change? You know, if we think about the 4 seasons here and how it just continues to just evolve and change throughout the course of the year. If change was as easy as it is in nature, as we see it in nature, we would just have to wait for the seasons to change, right? And then we would change too, but it doesn't work quite like that, does it? The weather, you know, when it gets colder, whether it gets warmer at night, and watch the beauty occur within us, it's easy to look into nature and see that. But when it comes to us, we do have to work for that change. We have to keep motivated to keep being able to evolving and moving forward in life. So recognizing that change is not an event that just suddenly occurs, but rather a process that gradually unfolds over time. As this process begins to unfold, a person's motivation can change. By taking action consistent with our values and recognizing that parts of our experience may not change, and then we have a courageous conversation with ourselves, all right? Sometimes we have to have that courageous conversation with ourselves and say, do we really want to change? So think about like exercise. It's always an easy example, like physical exercise, right? So we go through where we pre-contemplate it, like, you know, I see this exercise equipment being advertised, or I see this new latest diet or whatever it is, and we say, you know what, I really should probably think about exercising. It probably would really benefit me. Then we contemplate it. Okay, well, how about I start to put a plan in place, right? You think about it. Well, who could I get to go with me to walk? Or who could I get with me, you know, go with me to the gym? So then you start to prepare for that. You say, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call my friend, and we're going to organize 2 to 3 days a week, and we're going to walk. So we go from pre-contemplation to contemplating and then to preparing. We're going to put a plan in place, right? And then there's this action. Okay, the week comes that we say we're going to do this, we get in the car, we go meet our friend, and we go do that, right? We go to exercise. And then we try to get into a maintenance routine. We're doing this for what, maybe 2-3 days a week for 2-3 weeks, and our habit seems to start to form. It becomes a little bit easier. Our friend is what's keeping us sort of motivated and And then all of a sudden something happens, right? It's easy to get derailed off of that plan that we put in place. And then we kind of terminate that change that we placed in motion. And then what do we do? Right? That's the hard part, is what do we do at that point? So it's hard, right? It's hard to get back into a habit of what we've put in place. So chance versus change, right? Think about this quote here. Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. And how change continues to happen for us is having that resilience. And what resilience does for us is in order to have resilience, we have to have strength. So the bottom line in all of this is, even though we're moving and changing throughout the course of the seasons here, we have to constantly keeping ourselves strong by making sure that, we're doing all the things that we need to do to stay strong here. So think about this quote: life gets better not by chance, but by change. So I like to think about nature and the change of seasons. It doesn't rely on just chance. Think about the fall season, the change from fall to winter, where the deciduous trees start to turn to color and they start to drop. The trees lose their leaves, right? And then winter does set in at that point. So in order to feel better about the winter season setting in, it is helpful to know that the trees are dormant, right? And that they spend their time rebuilding and restoring. And sometimes with changes of seasons, that's what needs to happen when we're working on that change. We have to rebuild, we have to restore ourselves. So the roots of the trees, what do? They spend their time in the winter, soaking up all of the water, all of the nutrients that they need, going up into the tree, the trunk, and then into the branches, so that it provides us the beauty that it needs in the springtime. We can use the change of season, especially fall to winter, as a time to contemplate change. So think about this leaf right here, right? It's starting to decompose. All right. I use that as here's an example that you could use to help you with, what you might need to put in place to change. So what do you need to rake out of your life? What dead matter do you need to rake out of your life? This could be physical, mental, emotional, social, or even spiritual. So this could be an exercise that you can use nature in helping, is that change of season from fall to winter, and those leaves that fall and then decompose. Okay. We can use that dead matter as far as what do we need to rake out of our lives. All right. So where do we begin to build resilience using nature? Well, we talked about that already, the change of seasons and what we might need to soak up during the winter season in order to help rebuild and restore. There's two ways of understanding our connection to it and understanding the lack of control that we have with it. So I love nature for many, many reasons. Okay. The beauty, the amazing survival of plants and animals, the nurturing it provides for humans, and the birth of new beginnings. One thing nature provides for me that I hope to teach today is its healing properties for reducing stress and providing an overall sense of well-being, a place where one can surrender control. First, we need to figure out how we feel about nature, though. So for me, I immerse myself in it daily. It becomes a part of my existence. However, not everyone has that kind of connection to nature and natural living things. However, we all have some type of connection. And like I said before, if that were not the case, the floral industry and the hospitality industry would not be a billion-dollar industry. So think about, the ocean, the lake, the forest, the mountains, even the trees just right outside your window as ways to engage. So what is this people-plant connection? So biophilia is what the people-plant connection is, and there are 3 ways that we connect with nature. There's the one called overload and arousal theory. So we connect to nature because we have this innate need to disconnect with this overload and arousal part of what is always being pushed at us, and that is technology. We're just inundated constantly with those, the lights that come from the technology and the noise and just the constant, engagement of it. So we have just this natural, innate way that we connect to nature because of that. Then there's also the learning theory. And that's about what you learned growing up from your, from development. Like for me, I think why I'm so connected to nature is because my dad was an avid outdoorsman. I don't remember a time in childhood I was not outside doing something, turning over a rock, digging in a creek, fishing, something. I was always doing something in nature. So for me, developmentally, I learned that connecting to it and engaging with it was just something that you did. And so think about, like, what did you learn about nature growing up? What part of nature, that was a part of your development that is a part of you today even. And then there's another way that we connect it with nature in plants is the evolution theory. Okay. One, we evolve with nature. We can't live without it. So there's this ability, because we've evolved with it, that we are comprised primarily of plants, right? We have a psychological and also a physiological response to them. And I think I said earlier too, our first level of response to the natural scenes that are around us in all vegetation is emotional. That's been proven in research. So however one engages in connecting with living things, the restorative effects have been documented to have many positive effects. And depending on the type of programming or the type of way that you connect to nature, there's tools out there that will improve your life skills as well as your quality of life. And then there's things called nature therapy, which is an over-encompassing term, and that includes like eco-psychology, ecotherapy, horticultural therapy, forest bathing, forest therapy. So there's all these terms really that kind of are under this umbrella of what's called nature therapy. But and one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that, well, that's on a slide coming up. I'll hold off and wait on that one. I can't see what I'm looking at here. So here's some facts. Only 5% of our time is spent outdoors, going from one place, typically just from one place to the next, or for an organized, social or special event that's outside. Spending time in the woods is vital to our mood, state, and immune function. Trees emit terpenes, which increase our NK cell count in our body. NK cell count is our natural killer cells. They, when our natural killer cells are stronger, we can fight off disease, virus, cancer, you name it, we can fight it off. How does that happen? So because the trees emit the terpenes, it absorbs into our body. So if you get the opportunity, go under some trees, because the trees just emit that and it builds up our NK cell count. The next thing that people might not know is that the soil of the earth contains beneficial bacteria. And it's, I can't always say this right, it's Mycobacterium, I think it's called Vaccae. I always forget the last part of that. But if you've ever gardened before without gloves on and your hands are in the soil and you've been out there for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and you feel better, there's a reason you feel better, because having those beneficial bacteria absorbing into your skin actually increases the serotonin in our brain. And that's why we get that feel good feeling after we've been digging in the earth. And then retreating to nature is just a form of self-care. It increases our energy sources, which in turn aids strength, healing, and resilience. Okay. Just some fun facts that you might not have known. And then a little bit more science here. What is ecotherapy? It is a method of restoring optimal health and well-being through routine exposure to and experience in the natural world. Two things that you can do for yourself. Earthing. If you've never heard of that term, earthing, what you do is you take your shoes off your bare feet and you stand on the earth or the grass. And from there, it creates a very grounding experience for yourself. So if you're ever feeling anxious or, just your mind won't stop racing, try that. Obviously, I know in the wintertime, that's not the best approach because you just might, be too cold for your feet. But definitely when it's warmer, you can stand barefoot. You could lay as well. It's interesting. When I was a child, I used to love when it snowed to fall on the ground and do the snow angel. I don't know how many of you might have ever done that. And if you have if it snows and you've got the courage to do it, put on a jacket and just go out and do it. Just engaging with the snow itself can also be a form of earthing. Hugging a tree can be a form of earthing as well. So it's taking your body and connecting it to what nature is giving you. Then there's this thing called Shinrin Yoku. It's called forest bathing. And I don't mean that you go out into the forest and you bathe like you would in your shower. What it is that when you are walking, where the trees are and, on a trail or somewhere around, like this picture, somewhere in where there's like some dense trees and covering. What forest bathing does is it creates a conscious awareness of the external state, which brings an awareness to our internal state. Okay, so forest bathing can be really restorative as well. All right. So next, we do here what's called an integrative hands-on environmental scan. If you are interested in taking a class with us with this, please email intake@hopegrows.org. We typically like to do a class when we get, good 8 to 10 people in the class. So we always put people on a list, and when we can get, a handful, we'll advertise and we'll put that out there. But it's about exploring both our visible and invisible worlds by using what nature gives us naturally to help with strength, healing, hope, and resilience. So there's an opportunity to engage in an activity where it's just an integrative hands-on. You use your 5 senses in doing this activity, as well as, like I said, exploring our visible and invisible worlds to help build strength and these other things here. Okay. So not sold or convinced yet to go outside and engage with nature. A short 2 to 3 video can provide some relief as well. So we had the pleasure of a student a couple of years ago from Robert Morris provide a study with 44 caregivers had participated in the study with a virtual garden experience. And the results of the study concluded that just watching a short 2 to 3 minute video of the restorative gardens here at Hope Grows produced a statistically significant decrease in self-reported state anxiety. It also indicated that those who began with a higher level of anxiety received the greatest decrease in anxiety. So, if getting outside is not convenient, or you're just not one to be out there in nature in that way, you can get benefits from watching videos. So I know you could probably go on, Google nature videos. You probably would come up with at least 50 different spots you could go to. They're all over the place. Okay. The other thing here is nature does not expect anything from me. It's one place that we're able to surrender all control. I truly, truly believe that a lot of what ails us in life is control. And sometimes we just have to let go of it in order to be able to learn and move forward with change. And it just connects us, I think, to those that that we have a relationship with, you know, whether it's the caregiver care receiver relationship, or whether it's, you know, just a friend, or, you know, any type of relationship. I truly believe that. Okay, so basically, in summary, there's a reciprocal relationship that occurs. I hope that you can see that in nature. You know, we can't survive without plants, right? We have to have that for the oxygen carbon dioxide exchange. So by understanding the power of giving and receiving in nature, we can begin to apply that to our relationship between the cared for and the caregiver. While we give, we are also receiving. We just have to be open to both. And then when that happens, I think true abundance and true connection can really happen. And the result is truly a stronger relationship. Oh, there we go. And then too, humans are resilient. Like plants, all that's needed is to flourish is warmth, nourishment, tenderness, and someone to understand the individual needs. Just like a plant, you have to know how to water that one, give it the right sun. That's all we need to is to know. We have to explore and learn what's going to help us flourish. And keep in mind, trees need hugs too. Just some fun things. Okay. I hope I got into my time frame that I promised.